Welcome back to RIC Athletics 2024 season. This is our first episode. For those viewers at home, I am joined by head coach of the women's soccer team of RIC, Phil Pincince. Phil, how are you doing today?
Very well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Fresh start. You got a clean slate, 0-0-0, as soccer goes, right? What's something you try to, preach towards the incoming freshmen who are new to the NCAA scenery and maybe have just not been away from home as much, as in previous years?
I think for us, I preach to every freshman class, it's about having a life balance box where, there's family now at Rhode Island College, there's family at home, rest and energy. If they don't get any rest, they're going to, be a disaster for us on the field. We talk about academics being the number one priority here. Soccer's the bonus, and they're in the middle of that life balance box. They have to do a lot to be able to put it all together.
That's right.
So they hear that and they hear team. I point to them and I go, I don't care about you, I don't care about you. It's about the team. All the decisions I make with my assistant coach Louis are made in regards to putting the best team together that we can this season.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, you got the first game approaching this Friday night against Salem State at Salem. It's away. What are some conversations you're having with the captains of your team? The leaders that have been here for a little bit. Preparing to open the season on the road.
Well, we're sort of a little disadvantaged. We didn't come in for preseason until August 18th. Everybody else that I know came in August 16th, so we're a little behind the eight ball as far as opening game, but they've done well, they've worked hard, and we'll be ready to open up tomorrow night at Salem State. Is
there a matchup that's a little newer this year that you look forward to yourself, or maybe even you've discussed with the team that they're looking forward to? Obviously you want to take it one game at a time, make sure everybody gets their rest like you said. It's just one matchup that you're interested in seeing playing out as the season progresses.
No, I get excited about the next opponent.
Right.
And especially conference. When conference rolls around, we have 8 non-conference games before we open up. That's what really, really prepares you. And if you play tough teams, when you get into conference, there's really nothing that surprises you. When you play a weak schedule, you get in the conference and you're not used to it, and you press a panic button. We're trying to avoid all of those things.
All right. Yeah, like you said, 8 out of conference games to start. I believe that's the most out of conference games to start in a little while. I was going through the statistics last night and, looking through all the seasons and stuff like that. How important is it in, those games contributing to the end of the season? Like you said, it's great. It prepares you for the conference games, but, as it comes together at the end of the season, it, includes in the record. How does that, help out?
The record is one thing to look at, but I look at non-conference, I look at conference, I look at how are we developing from game to game. You have to understand, we picked up some tough opponents. We've got Wesleyan coming here, Gordon coming here. Now, every one of those teams is going to be very different. Our players need to learn from every team we play against. Some teams will play very indirect. Some teams will play very direct.
They'll come at you, yeah.
And, every player has a style they like to play against.
Yes.
We need to be able to be ready to play against any style.
Is there a certain mental strategy in, for the ladies within the middle of the season, like you said, gets deep into the season, you start your conference games a little later than everybody else, and you started preseason a little later than everybody else. Is there some sort of mental strategy that you are trying to preach to the team, as in, getting prepared and not letting up as the season progresses?
I think the big issue that we have with them is that we want them to continue working hard, and that balance between academics and athletics. There are some players that go gun-ho, and it's soccer. Then classes start. And it's their first time that they don't have classes from 7:30 in the morning till 2 o'clock.
Right.
Now they have one day without any classes, and the next day they have 3, and they've got all this free time, so to speak, to do their work. And if they don't stay ahead of that curve, they might suffer, and we don't get the utmost work rate from them in training.
Right.
Then it becomes an issue.
Yeah, when they're not 100%, it's really hard to start them or play them in their respective positions. And last question for you. It's sort of a fun one. Is there any sort of pregame meal, pregame snack that you're going to every game that fuels a superstition, or maybe you just like to sit back and relax and drink a couple waters before the game, not maybe prepare, not eat too much, and maybe devour a whole bunch after the game?
I think that if you talk to our athletes, they're all superstitious.
Yeah.
And even coaches are. And I'll just leave it at that.
This is my first interview with, joined alongside me, head coach Phil Pincince, who's got a decorated resume, to say the least. We were just talking about that. But be sure to tune in Saturday at Salem State, and also 1 p.m. against Dean this Sunday. They'll be home for their first home opener. We'll be broadcasting it. Be sure to catch us on RICathletics.com. Thank you, Coach.
That was good.
Appreciate